So one of these shows is named after something I'm still waiting for.
I'm guessing that's The Summer You Turn Pretty.
Oh, yeah.
And the other one is the best pilot we've ever watched.
Yeah, I was going to... Because we've just spent a whole episode talking about how suspense is important. So I was going to try and draw that out for more than 30 seconds.
Nope, not at all. I think we need to get...
Euphoric?
Respectfully... No, I think we need to get The Summer I Turned Pretty out of the way. So we can then focus on Euphoria.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to sum up, The Summer I Turned pretty good. But this is not the episode for it.
No, it's such a shame.
It really is.
You know, you could put this up in any other week, and we'd be like, "Oh, this is actually all right." The trouble is it's gone up against Euphoria, and we've gone, "That's the best fucking thing we've seen."
Yeah, I feel really quite bad for it.
I do, and I sort of don't, because it is kind of it is quite idealist, and it is quite middle class.
It is a little bit, I think, paint by numbers as well. But
Yes.
but paint by numbers still make good pictures.
Yeah. Hey, that's nicely put. I like that. That's very good. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So the main character Belly, which I took me only till now to realise that it's short for Isabel.
She literally says it.
I wasn't paying attention though. Was
He was
I?
just thinking about Euphoria.
I was, yeah. To be honest, I was like, "There's no way this is holding up." So, I really like the opening montage, where it's like they're growing up as kids, and every summer the cousins will get together, and are they cousins? I'm guessing.
No, they're just family friends.
Oh, they are. Okay, fine.
Otherwise,
Oh yeah. Otherwise,
the
it doesn't
weird
make sense.
romancy stuff gets a bit fucked. And I think this is
Oh,
the
you
wrong
know
bit
what?
of America for that.
You know what? I've just remembered why I was thinking they were cousins. Is because this reminded me of when me and my brother and my mum would go and stay with my aunt and her two daughters, who are obviously my cousins. Because I was like, oh, this is like when we used to go up there and just get into like all sorts of scrapes and shit with them. So that's why I was thinking they were cousins. And I love that opening montage of as they're getting older, they're still going back and still doing the same things and that sort of stuff, like at this beach house and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, that bit was really lovely. And then it's exploring that sort of the teenage years where everyone's sort of it's all a little bit weird, because suddenly like they're all a bit more grown up and they're not necessarily into the childish things that they used to do, and there's beach parties and boys and booze and girls and drugs and
divorce
and DIVORCE.
Yeah.
So
Are you spelling it out so that Lisa doesn't hear? And go, oh,
hang on,
do you
a
know
minute.
what?
What's happening in there? That's a great idea. That was Billy Connolly's song, wasn't it? DIVORCE.
May well have been.
I think it was. Yeah.
But what I quite like is that opening montage makes you sort of go, oh, I know what this is. This is just, I went and it was different because I'm slightly old. But it's, what I quite like is that when you get to and now we're going again this year, and everything's just a little bit darker.
And, you know, they're not quite as visibly excited to see each other. Although she does sing in the car still, doesn't she? But
Yeah.
when they all meet, it's all quite muted, and it's quite... I'm kind of obsessed with that period of time of when... Because I definitely in my head have one or two summers where I like realised that I wasn't necessarily a kid, but I wasn't quite an adult anymore. That weird in between as age.
Yeah, the good summers.
When, like...
When all that
Like,
matters
when-
is having a bit of a laugh.
Yeah, but then also, that thing of realising, oh, I can be let down by adults. I can be let down by people who I thought, you know, who I thought a lot of, and that's quite confusing. And maybe you fall out with friends that you were like, oh, we were best friends for a while, and that sort of time period I'm properly obsessed with. So I think it captured that quite nicely.
Yeah, and I think what you can already tell is that Belly's putting a lot of pressure on that summer
Yeah.
And what I also quite is that a lot of these shows normally are just like teenagers, and they just focus on the teenagers. But this also has like adults have stuff. It's not as important or as interesting, but they have stuff.
Like slagging off authors right to their faces.
But the thing that is clearly the start of a relationship or a very good friendship.
Yeah.
I would hope that it goes down the friendship route rather than the romance route, because the romance feels too predictable.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, paint by numbers though.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's still not bad if it does, but it would be more interesting if instead of a nice blue for the sea, they just a little purple. We're really we're going to do that metaphor to death, I think.
Yes. Because so this is two series, right? But it is based on one book. Is that right? Oh, based on a novel trilogy. Okay, so I was wondering if it's like if they're going to split the series into I was going to ask the question: is this just one summer and there's multiple series about the same summer? Because I feel like that's not. That would probably be quite.
It'd be
odd.
quite difficult as well.
Yeah, to try and.
It'd be difficult to believe,
and at the same time, like stretch the material, but then compress the material at the same time. Do you know what I mean? So like, if you've got 10 episodes on the first third of a book, we're not all Peter Jackson. So
yeah, but it's like the Hobbit trilogy is not just based on that book. There's also some bits from the appendices of Lord of the Rings. So it's not all just. Says. Well, I mean, it is all made up. But it's not made up by Peter Jackson. It's made up by.
But like we laughed at that, but I sort of knew what you meant. I was like, it's not made up, but but it's like it's not made up by the wrong person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a thing that I think most people would get that when you go to it's not made up, but there are some really quite literal people who would be like, but it is made up. You go, yeah, but fuck off.
I think something else that this particular show suffered with was the fact that there's a scene where she's texting her friend about, oh my god, like this amazing thing happened, we kissed. I'd watch this after Euphoria, and there's a lot more than kissing that goes on in Euphoria. Yeah, this pales in comparison, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like they have very different target audiences though.
Yes. Yeah, I think you might be right.
And I feel like, worryingly, we fit both. Because I think this hits on it hits on the same sort of demographic that Gilmore Girls hits.
Gilmore Girls. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
and because I could see it, because it's quite like this, the little coast town. It feels there are more kids there than there were in Stars Hollow, but it feels close knit enough that you could go, oh well, everyone kind of knows each other. There's a big country club. Like it feels very Gilmore Girls-y, but
the book
with higher definition cameras.
Oh my god, they didn't even have HD for Gilmore.
It wasn't even widescreen.
Bruh. It's that 4x3.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Oh, it wasn't, was it? Yeah. It's always got the it's always in 4x3 on Netflix, isn't it?
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah, it's weird.
So I do like this. Like, I could quite happily see this like being, a sort of an in between. Like, if I was going to watch this, I'd watch this in between two really heavy hitting like detective dramas or something. So like
what
that.
I'm hearing is we have found a palate cleanser.
Yeah. Which, hey, listen, we all like lemon sorbet. There's nothing wrong with a lovely lemon sorbet. So, although to continue the metaphor, this one probably overly saccharine. Although I have read on a little bit, and it does seem like it gets a bit more bite. Like there's some dark stuff coming.
Well, that's the thing, because I think is it Conrad, the broody boy?
Yes, yeah. He gets into the.
I feel like his story is going to be quite the spiral. Not quite Rue, but a spiral nonetheless.
Yeah.
But I think I probably will at some point watch more of this.
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, like it'll be a good, like how I described that we have certain shows that are like bedtime shows, and it's stuff like it's quite easy watching. There's no real jeopardy because we're trying to like chill out a bit. At the minute, we're just working our way through the new series of Never Mind the Buzzcocks, so that's about as dramatic,
As intense as it gets. Yeah,
telly. Yeah,
that makes sense. So something like The Traitors would be really good.
No, big shot of cortisol and adrenaline all the way through. Seriously, when we watch The Traitors, like when it's the round table, genuinely, my heart beats faster than when I'm watching a horror movie. I genuinely, I find it so... it's not quite anxiety. I suppose it is anxiety-inducing, because I know that you're about to watch real-life confrontation. It's so entertaining.
That's the trouble.
It really fucks with my heart.
And because it's the BBC, it's like as real as a show like that can be, because the BBC have many a rule, as I don't know, weirdly found out that they have many a rule about like how prizes can be won, and it has to be legit.
Well, no, I think it's like that on any sort of TV channel. The difference with the BBC is because it's publicly funded money. That's why prizes on game shows on the BBC are so much lower. Is because it's like we fucking paid for it. And ITV can do their competitions for like $100,000, a car, a holiday, a boat, all that sort of shit.
Yeah, because there's advertisers.
Because they've got the advertisers. So there's no contract with the consumer with that one. So.
Yeah, and I think if you found out ITV were faking it, you go, fair enough.
Yeah, ITV, innit? I mean,
but like the BBC, they can't fuck about because we'll just be like, "Oh, I'm not paying for it then."
Yeah, it has just made me realise that we did pay for all them nonces in the 70s.
We didn't. We weren't alive.
But okay, so the taxpayer was paying for noncing going on. Speaking of noncing, let's move on. Okay.
Well, as segue goes, it's not my favourite, but it works.
Hey. I have been so looking forward to talking about Euphoria. The trouble is what if history's taught us anything on this show? It's that when we like stuff, we just say, "Fuck, this is good."
Yeah, and I mean, fuck, this is good.
Right, here we go. So, Euphoria. Let me just run some of these themes by you.
Well,
okay?
I've got one quick question to ask before I was planning on doing exactly the same.
Okay, sure, go for it.
What has stopped you watching Euphoria before this?
Quite honestly, it's been the fact that it's, well, for one thing, on Now TV, which I haven't always got access to.
Yeah, which is a problem, which is why I bought it on Prime. Despite having access to Now TV, because it's not a thing that I remember about.
If any of that money gets back to the makers of Euphoria, it's money well spent.
Absolutely.
What has stopped me watching it previously? I think because I'd heard it was like a high school thing, and that's literally it. I was like, well, high school show, and I'd heard like good things about it, like a lot of people saying like, wow, this is really, really good, but I guess just that, really. Why?
Well, that's the thing, because I am curious, because I don't know why I haven't watched it yet either.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's one of those that I'm like, oh, high school thing. Well, that's still a demographic that I fall into.
Do you know?
To watch. I'm not the right age.
I'm gonna read off some of the topics that are covered in Euphoria, and then I'm gonna tell you the exact moment where I knew I was watching something really special, and the moment that I knew they had you on board. Okay?
Okay.
So, this is a show that covers child abuse, drug abuse, toxic relationships, toxic positivity, hookup culture, mental illness, codependency, abortion, infidelity, relapsing, repressed homosexuality, sobriety, human trafficking, domestic violence, rape, toxic masculinity, drug dealing, dating violence, mental health, and grief.
Grief really feels like it feels right that it's in there, but it just feels kind of out of place.
Yeah. And it's just incredible. Okay, so this is the point where I knew I was watching something special, and the point that I knew they got you, like that you had bought into it completely, it's the same moment. It's the fact that it opens, we see Rue being
so
born.
it's the fact that it starts, and that's how I knew they had you.
We see Rue being born. Literally, we follow her down the birth canal, and let me tell you this: the sound effect that they use for her heartbeat, that's absolutely the noise you hear when you go to listen to your baby's heartbeat when you go into a midwife appointment. So that really weirded me out that there's only two places I've heard that sound. One is the sound of my daughter's heart, and when I was watching this show. So we go from
Those are
that.
not two things that you want to be together.
So we go from her literal birth. The next thing you see is 9/11. And she says, I was born 3 days after 9/11. And I went, this is going to be a fucking incredible show. And at the same moment, Rich is so on board with this.
That's the thing. You're not wrong. It also did make me feel old, though.
Yes. Yeah, it really did as well. I was like, I remember it. So, fucking hell.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because... So that places all of the 16-year-olds in this show. I would have been 27.
Bloody hell.
So that's the thing. If I was hanging out, I'd have been joining a club.
I think, but the reason it got me so much is I was like, that is so clearly the tone of the show. Is that thing is like, she's born, and she's born into a world that has been completely redefined by a international trauma, and living under the shadow of 9/11. Absolutely. You see that all through the shots where she's grown up through school. The fact that like they have the school shooting, like drill where they're all just sat in the hall.
And that's the thing. Do you know what baffles me is that is
looks
a real thing.
Yeah, isn't that just a fucked up thing? It's like, oh yeah, this is recognisable, but that's fucked.
That's the thing, and you sort of go, you're sort of sitting there watching it, because, like, obviously, listen to us, we're British, we don't understand gun violence, but we'll tell you about it anyway. Like, that's a thing that they have to do because they don't understand how to not sell guns to idiots. And, like, it's sad, and you can see how, like, someone might become a bit off the rails. But what I really like is that when she's talking about being in rehab and she's just like, yeah, and then I was coming home and I just had no intention of staying sober. And it's just like, I almost respect the confidence to just know and be yourself and just be like, the thing that I like doing is getting real fucked up.
Oh, I know what. I've suddenly realised why you like her so much. She's fucking Renton.
Yeah. This is American Train Spotting.
Do you know what? Like, you say that glibly. It's not a million miles away.
No,
like,
it's not.
I mean, like, we've not had any sort of shit thrown over parents from, or anything, but...
not yet, but there's time.
There is definitely time. I almost don't know where to start with it, because it was just like every single scene I was basically cheering, particularly towards the end, like in the party scene and everything that happens at the party. It's, do you know what? I said it at the start. This is just going to descend into us going, fucking hell, this is so good.
Yeah, the way I picture this conversation going is one of us just being like, oh, do you remember when that happened? But be like, oh yeah, and then do you remember when this happened? It's just, and yeah, it deteriorates into just gibbet. Like, do you remember when we did Him and Her?
Yeah, and we didn't. I don't think we said anything about it. It was, it's just so good.
Yeah, like I specifically, like I could be, like knee deep in season 2 by now, probably. Like quite easily and quite happily, just have gone right. Do you know what?
Yeah.
The last couple of days, I didn't need to do anything else. I'm sick. And just fuck it, I could have watched all of this in a couple of days.
Yes, 100%.
But I didn't, so that we wouldn't do the Him and Her thing, where we're just talking about the whole thing. Because, like, I think people who haven't seen this, like we were those Philistines
Yeah.
mere days ago, and
1 day ago for me. I watched this yesterday.
the thing, like, I'm just jealous that you watched it so recently.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite similar to you. I could have quite happily just let the other one run on and so, right, this is me for the next 3 days now. I'm just watching this.
Yeah.
And I'd have been so happy doing that. But
I imagine there are some properly
bleak
heartbreaking moments in this.
Yeah, there definitely is going to be bleak. So, I tell you what then, let's pick out 3 things each. Because we can't think, we're struggling to sort of come up with actual tangible things. Let's go for 3, maybe 2, 3 things that we pick out of it as like, that's when I was like, holy shit, this is fucking incredible.
Okay, I've got my
Go
first
for it.
big one in my head is at the party. What
I think
her
you're about to
the
steal
Sydney
mine.
Sweeney and the bloke that she's fucking.
In the pool?
McCready and I can't remember what.
Who the fuck's McCready? Hang on, at the party?
Yeah, the guy who's hosting the party.
Yeah. Oh, fuck it, what's his name? The lad who's in Saltburn, right?
Yes.
Is that him? Is he? Have I completely misremembered that? Is he not the lad in Saltburn?
I'm not sure. The trouble is, I'm finding there are so many characters in this. I'm struggling
I'm
to
not
keep
sure
all.
who's who.
Oh,
it's not that
McKay,
guy.
I think.
McKay. Hang on. I've seen that name on the. Sorry, talk amongst yourselves while we figure this out.
Yeah, he's not in Saltburn.
Okay, he looks like the lad in Saltburn. But the.
So now we can add racism to the list of topics.
Wait, Sydney Sweeney. I don't. Go on. Just tell me the thing because I can't remember.
So, they are in bed. As
Oh yes. Sorry, yes, I'm
And-
with you. Yeah.
so, there's been a whole like slut shaming thing before that, and the narration is sort of implying that it's going to go the not so consensual route,
Uh huh.
and then they start to get down to it, and he starts to choke her, and she's just like no, and I was like, oh no, and then the scene pauses, and it just goes. Just let me say that this doesn't end in a rape. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
But also, like... and then they have, like, a genuine sort of... She's just like, no. And his reaction is, like, the right reaction.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
And he's just like, I thought it was to be something you'd like. And she's just like, I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just saying, fucking hell.
But it does have that amazing discussion, doesn't it? It's like, it's Rue again comes in as a narrator saying, right, everyone on the planet watches porn, but if you look at the top most watched videos on Pornhub, it's all this, and then it shows some quite violent, like, rough sex stuff, doesn't it? Like choking, all that sort of thing. And basically, it's just making the comment of like, look, this is what young lads are doing. They're growing up thinking this is what sex is, so then they're starting with choking their partners, and it's like that's completely fucked. But I'm really quite glad that there is this show that is going to be appealing to that audience who might then just go, oh right, so that's not real then.
And just also the way that like it's giving them a character who's gone like, fucking no. And
But
then
give her
have a
agency.
conversation. Yeah.
But then because her retort to him is, right, I like don't do that, but you know, I'm not saying we can't, I'm just saying fucking ask me first.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's that though, I was just like, that was one, like, there were many a moment in this. This feels weirdly like a top 5. Maybe that's the top 5 at the end of the year. It's just, what are your top 5 favourite things from
Bits
Euphoria?
in Euphoria. Okay, so the one that I particularly wanted to mention is it's in the same setting, so it's at the party again. And we've got what's the I can't remember the lad. Is it Nate? Yeah, Nate, who's the one who's like his ex-girlfriend's trying to make him jealous by getting in the pool with the other lad. Yeah,
Yeah, and because
So-
his character's called Nate, he's a cunt.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we're looking at you, Ted Lasso. So Nate he's gotten very, very drunk, and we've seen that Jules has come into the party. Jules being the trans character, who, oh my god, that's one of my other favourite bits, is the payoff from the follow-on from this story about where she's just been. Fucking hell, that was amazing.
That's the thing. Could you imagine, like, being able to...
I know.
If she had known in the moment...
Oh, it would have been amazing.
As he's just going like, oh, I know what you are. And she just goes, I just fucked your dad.
That would have been amazing. But so that confrontation is the bit I'm about to mention.
Yeah.
Because... So, as you say, so he's pissed. He's this big, like, jock lad. He's, for some reason, all the sporty lads start this party with their tops off, and they're just
apart
drinking
from
with their tops
weirdly,
off.
McKay.
Yeah,
So you
I
can
think
already tell who the
McKay-
cunts are.
Yeah, I think McKay is good guy. McKay is good guy in this because he's.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I imagine like most people, he'll have his moments.
Yeah.
But
Nate is drunk. Jules is in the kitchen. He notices her and goes like, "Who the fuck are you?" And she like really quite. And this broke my heart when she's, "Oh, I'm Jules. I just moved here or what, stuff like that." And he just gets right in her face and starts having a go, like you say, "Oh, I know what you are," and starts abusing her in a really horrific way. And nobody does anything. It's like, does anyone here know Jules? And no one steps in. And I was like, oh no, I really don't want this to be like, oh look, a trans person's being bullied, which is what it's looking like. And then Jules just picks up a fucking knife and starts going at him like, all right, let's fucking have some then, shall we? And he starts backing away all scared. And the moment that I was like, oh, I genuinely found it really, really moving is when she goes, you want to feel fear, or are you scared, or something like that. So you think you can scare me? And then she lifts her arm up, slashes her elbow, like just above her. She cuts her forearm and just holds the knife up and goes, I'm fucking invincible.
yeah, I mean,
amazing.
it makes a lasting first impression.
Amazing. And in that I was like, okay, you're definitely my favourite character in this whole thing. Like, just give it, just because we've so often seen trans characters just being the victim, which obviously it does reflect society, and that there's still a lot of work to be done before like gender equality and all that sort of thing. So I think
there
we're
is an
quite
element
used
of
to
that
seeing
to Jules'
that.
character.
Yeah, there is, but then also how amazing to give her the agency again and just being like, no, fuck you, like, this is who I am, I'm just being me, you're the one with the problem. So I just loved that. I absolutely loved that moment. That was my favourite moment in the whole show.
Yeah.
Apart from the then reveal of like, yeah, things get weird then, and then it reveals that she's just fucked his dad. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I think I quite like the sort of next scene on from that, where Jules obviously just goes, do you know what? I think I might just leave this party. It's not my seat. And then
Rue follows.
Rue just sort of goes like, where are you going? And just like, can I come with you? And it feels it's like a really nice end
Yeah.
to what overall is
What a shit party.
yeah. But then it's an American party. They've had like a sniff of beer each.
They've had a Coors Light each.
Apart from Rue, who's had probably her weight in hallucinogens.
Yeah. And just very quickly on that one of the other things I've loved is the camera work and the physical effects of when she's walking through and they've got the room on a gimbal that's turning, like that bit
Like
in
the
corridor in
Inception.
Yeah.
But also to
Incredible.
make it so they would have had to, I'd imagine, I'm not a learned man of making films, but I'd imagine you'd have to shoot that shot twice, once with Zendaya walking around and once with the people who are still just sat.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because I did wonder because I was looking at, if you look at every character who's in that, they're not freestanding, they're like leaning against something or sat against something. So I was like, I wonder if they've just
They could be
strapped them
harnessed.
in.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, which would have been amazing. But yeah, so yeah, just the most incredible show, and I cannot wait to watch more of this.
Yeah, because that's the thing. We've touched on
A couple
four
of bits.
or five characters,
Yeah,
and like I'd be happy if that was it. But there are like a whole bunch more. Like, so I'm currently on Wikipedia, and it's got like, here are probably the more important characters. But then there's just a link, and it's just like, here are all the other characters.
Yeah.
And yeah, I will be watching more.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. If you not watched Euphoria, then fuck me. If there's one show across the whole, I was gonna say the whole 9 years, but across the whole 9 years, probably would be Gilmore Girls is the one that we would push you to. But fuck me, Euphoria is actually like.
Well, that's the thing. No, I'd say now watch, but that's the thing. We can't speak to all of Euphoria where we can to Gilmore Girls. Once we finish this next week, we'll come back to you.
Once we finish this tomorrow,
and bestow upon you the virtues of watching Euphoria, and like a Barbenheimer, it's Euphoria Girls.
Nice. Yeah, I think you can probably tell by how animated I'm certainly getting anyway that this is it's hands down it's the best pilot we've ever done, and it took us 9 years to get here.
Yeah, I don't think a pilot episode, like there have been pilots for shows that are good, but I don't think there's ever been a pilot that's made me go, I just want to.
Yeah.
I mean, it has happened where I've gone, I want to watch more of this, and I have.
Not quite like this though.
Not in this, but they're like character shows. Like the last one I really remember being like, oh, someone has made a television show for me, was Maisel.
Yeah.
Where I watched episode 1 and went, no, I need to watch more of this.
More, yeah. Oh, Jesus.
But Euphoria had more tits, so.
Yeah. Go and watch it. It's fucking amazing. And fair play to The Summer I Turned Pretty. You just picked a bad week, mate. Sorry. But
That is such a shame. Like, I can see how they've been tied together, but at the same time,
no.
Euphoria just kind of stands on its own.
Yeah.
Like we could have done like, well, we almost pretty much have done this whole episode about Euphoria.
Yeah. Go and fucking watch it. It's incredible. Our next one then. This is going to be an interesting one because
I think it's going to be disappointing.
Yeah, you can't. It's unfortunate for the two shows. So for Band of Brothers and The Pacific, it's unfortunate that you've got to follow Euphoria, but at least the others have got the benefit of a bit of a breather between the rest of them. But yeah, Band of Brothers, which stars every British male actor who is now working in Hollywood, apparently. And The Pacific, who I think is made by the same crew. I think it's Spielberg,
so.
Tom Hanks, all that lot again, getting back together for Band of Brothers, from Band of Brothers. So yeah, looking forward to it. But I mean, let's be fair, it's not going to be as good as Euphoria. So
yeah, it's a tough. I think there'll have to be some sort of like mental cleanse to like separate Euphoria and maybe stop counting as a TV show and just consider it a set of life-changing movies.
yeah, fucking hell, go and watch it.